How's it going? Good day, good day. So glad that you are here. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. Um, Thank you for supporting. I have a thought for you in this early AM, hitting the treadmill. Hopefully, you are up getting your circulation going. All of you students out there are ready for the day. Be prepared for the universe to drop knowledge in your path, and more importantly, extract from that gift things that you can apply. All right, don't let it be wasted. Today, I was awoken by a thought. All right, and that thought had everything to do with one of the later videos, excuse me, that we've done. That being Kenosha v. Phillips. If you do not know what I'm referring to, please go back in the archives, maybe 3 or so videos ago, and find the Kenosha versus Phillips case. Let's get going. So, the issue in this case was in a familiar issue to us in this demographic, the discussion, the debate over public versus private. And it was held that this private land that the defendant was found on inside of his car, Phillips, he was passed out and intoxicated with the motor running. And so obviously he was charged with intoxicated operation of a motor vehicle. And so the question was posed to the Supreme Court of Wisconsin from the Court of Appeals as to whether or not it makes any difference that there was a sign on the property that stated that this parking lot was intended or held out for the public, because the sign said for AMC employees only, for their automobiles only, and AMC was the owner of the lot. And the sign also went on to state that anyone else would be towed away at their own expense. And so, obviously, if you've paid attention, the Supreme Court held that no, this land belonging to AMC was not open or held out to the public, because the owner expressly stated their intent on the sign. And so Mr. Phillips was basically acquitted of the charge because, and here's the most important part, when they did an analysis on the definition as codified or enacted by the legislature, they could not apply the OWI, intoxicated operation of a motor vehicle statute, to or in this case. Why? Because they found that the legislature's intent behind the statute was to only apply, that this statute was only to apply in the public thoroughway, on the highway, and on the bridges connected to each of those. It was never intended to apply on private lands where the owner did not intend it to apply or be available, or their lots to be made available to the public. And so you can clearly see that there are a lot of legalities here and things that the average everyday layperson would not be circumspect of. You know, it's just, oh, we don't even think that way. But that's how the legal practitioners are taught. They're trained in their Harvard and Marquette law schools and all that kind of thing. They're trained to see things in that light or from that light, which is further indicative of the distinct nature or natures between what's called natural law and what is called positive law, which positive law, the latter, being the legal system enactments of the legislature. So I'm bringing this up and reiterating this case because, as I stated initially, I was awoken with the thought. In any case that is brought against you, okay, you have to evaluate, you have to do an analysis, because this is what the courts are going to do. This is what they are tasked with doing. So you may as well get proficient at it yourself. Make no mistake. One day, legally or otherwise, you will be charged with something, whether it be speeding or something much more severe. Okay? Because you're surrounded by and are, dare I say, contained within the legal system. So there is virtually no escaping it, whether you like it or not. And so why not, if you can't beat them, as the saying goes, why don't you join them? If the judge in the judiciary's, their job is to do an analysis on the intent of the legislature, and in doing so, they employ tactics such as the standard dictionary and their definitions, right? Because they want to really know what the average individual believes the term means. Now, let me qualify what I'm saying. What I mean by that is, in that particular case that I mentioned, Kenosha v. Phillips, it was found that the state legislature had not defined a particular word. I forget which one it is. I think it was held out, as in held out to the public. But it was one of the key legal terms that was not defined. And so what the courts ended up doing was they said, well, since the statute does not include a definition of this particular terminology, and we need to define this particular terminology in order to make a conclusion, to come to a conclusion, then what we're going to do is we're going to use a standard dictionary, one that is accessible to the public, so that we can see and justify against what the average individual believes that word or that term means. My point is that we have to start doing that ourselves. We have to start doing it ourselves. Because that's how you would build your case. If you're going to bring a lawsuit, all right, for what you're claiming may be a deprivation of your rights, right? Or a violation of your constitutionally protected rights. Okay, you're going to have to build your case. So as in Kenosha v. Phillips, why not do exactly what they're doing? This is Remedy 2022, I'm telling you. This is what we have not been taught, but this is how the system functions. So you got to find those legalities and loopholes. And the way to do that is through the terminologies. Use the dictionaries and use that in your case. If they don't define a particular term, then how are you supposed to know what that term means? And then once you do your analysis on that term, then you make a determination as to whether the legislature, through the average understanding in relation to that term, if it was intended to apply in your particular situation. As in the Kenosha v. Phillips case, it was held that, well, wait a minute, even though he was intoxicated, being Phillips, he was intoxicated, even though he was operating a motor vehicle, alas, the legislature clearly did not intend for that statute to apply to the private, only to the public thoroughway and the bridges and on the highway. That's it. Nowhere else. So then if the land is posted as private and or there is an expressed intent by the landowner that this is only for the private, then the police officers, the sheriff, the state patrol, whichever, do not have a right to violate that private land. They do not have a right to come on there and charge anyone sitting on that land with operating or doing anything in the public, because that's not construed lawfully and legally as the public. And this is the way that the game is played. And that is 10 minutes, 57, 58, 11 minutes. So I could keep going with it, but I don't think there's any need to muddy the waters further. I guess what I'm saying in a nutshell is it's time for us to start doing our homework. Stop just comprehensively allowing them to run roughshod over us with their statutes, codes, and ordinances, because there is due process, and it does work, as in this case. Mr. Phillips was clearly intoxicated once again and clearly operating a motor vehicle, but was acquitted and was not charged, was let go without further incident. Why? Because the due process establishes just that they have to define and then the terms, and then those terms as defined have to be analyzed to see if they apply to your particular situation. In the event that they don't, you must move to have the case dismissed on those grounds. It was never meant, because the courts have to interpret, and after analysis, they have to interpret the enactments of the legislature, aka the statutes. They have to interpret them. That's their job. But guess what? Now the rabbit's got the gun. I'm putting you in the driver's seat. This is Remedy 2022. Apply it. Well, first learn it, do an analysis on it. All right, and then apply it. Learn it, analyze, and then apply. All right, this is Courtney with KnowledgeWell Media. This is the type of teaching you get here. And there's been a sharp uptick in postings, and hopefully this is growing you. Hopefully this is adding value to you and your family and establishing your rights. What we do is we pride ourselves as being law auditors. You see the First Amendment auditors that are basically using their cameras and checking to make sure that the police and other law enforcement agencies are doing and acting in accordance with their grant, their grant, right? And so this is what KnowledgeWell does as well, but not so much out in the public with cameras walking up on police officers and whatever. But what we are doing is we are checking through the law and we are auditing, okay? We are making sure that government officials are held accountable, all right? And making sure that, the game is not being rigged, and that you have your equal opportunity, equal protection of the law, and most importantly, your due process of law, all right? So thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you give a thumbs up. Make sure that you share this with the people that you love and your friends, because like I said before, sooner or later, you're gonna run into the law, and you wanna make sure that they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and any loopholes that will provide you remedy will become very devastating in your matter. All right, if you need help with that, or trust education, or any other education involving law auditing, give us a email at KnowledgeWell, the number 4, the letter U, at gmail.com. If you did not understand that, look in the description of the video. All right, I'm gonna get back to my workout. Appreciate you all. Don't forget to show your love and support through donation. Our Cash App is $American Consulate. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Don't forget, this Sunday, Bad Wolf is joining us, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time this coming Sunday. All right, if you're interested, we will be live. We will be giving and taking questions. and we'll have a good old time. All right, don't forget the Economics 101 course is continuing. We had our first introduction the other day. You can look into the archives to catch up on that. All right, and for more information, look in the, of course, the description of this video. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.